Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how I made these pendants as well as this style of pendant. So it incorporates a little bit of wire wrapping, but the main focus is on electroforming, though there's no telling what you might be able to do with this, so let's get started. So to make this style of electroformed slash wire wrapped quartz pendant, I'm using an 18 gauge bare copper wire from Parawire. You could use something thicker, but I've found for the time that I leave it in the electroforming bath, it builds it up to a much thicker, uh, like it gets almost 12 gauge in thickness, and they're cut to about 6 inches, but again, you can use your own personal discretion for this. And I'm going to start by going through and making spirals, almost like a fiddlehead spiral, on each end of the wire. And you can use your pliers or your fingers, just however you like, to bring it to where it has maybe 2 inches between the two spirals, and then I'm bending them off that way they're like shown. So they're almost like a lollipop on a stick. And then I'm going to use these super handy mandrel pliers to bend around using the thickest segment. You could also use a pen or a very thick knitting needle or something, but I just want it to be roughly the same thickness as the quartz crystal that I'm going to be wrapping. So now I'm coming through using 1/2 inch wide copper tape, and it can be a little bit fiddly trying to peel it off. It can be a little bit fiddly sometimes getting your fingernails in there, but I believe in you. We can do this. Maybe. Oh, good golly, there we go. So, and I don't mind doing just a single layer, but I like to, just in case it's going to tear or something, I like to do a little bit more than just a single layer of the tape. So just using it to solid down over the copper spirals that we've made, trying to get it to line up with itself pretty well. I don't want like a jagged, rough, corner. And then I'm just using a rubber tipped tool here to burnish out any folds or creases or anything. And then this tool has both a round head and a flat head. So I like to use the kind of almost sharpened point to get down in all the little crevices, and just use what you find works for you. But I liked this tool because it doesn't punch through the copper tape. Like you really I really have to try to get it to punch through, but it lets me define a lot of the details, and that way I can then go through with the electroforming and capture the shaping that we've done with the wire. Now you could also take this same setup and use a soft solder to go through and let me know if you guys are interested in a tutorial on that, because that way we can get a little bit of a silver color going on. Be sure definitely to use lead-free solder, but I think that'd be pretty fun to try out. Now to do the other style, the first quartz crystal wasn't drilled at all. So I'm still using the 18 gauge bare copper wire, and these are top drilled opalite crystal points that I had gotten from Fire Mountain Gems. Now there should be links to all the different tools and materials that I'm using down below, at least as best as I can find. Some of these, like these opalite points, I think I got like 6 years ago, so I don't know if I'll be able to find a direct link to them, but I've bent maybe 3 or 4 millimeters in from the end on each side, then shaped the little bail around with our mandrel pliers, and now I'm using a 1/4 inch wide copper tape that seems equally, no, not quite equally, as difficult to peel off, and I'm just going to go through and do more of a decorative cap. And you can see here we're just kind of positioning and wrapping around, and I wanted to achieve a very minimalist look on this, and it was my own choice to have such a high bail. So you could have it be much lower, you could do any kind of different style. It's the possibilities with this really are just endless, and you can pinch the tape in a little bit closer to the wires if you want. I personally like them bulged out a little bit. And so just to demonstrate again, we're using about 1.5 inches of wire, and this one I think is going to make a much shorter one, shorter bail, and then bending the ends and then shaping around again. Sorry, the camera went blurry. That's just how it is sometimes. Now this one, I made the wires too long, so I went ahead and snipped some off with my wire snips. Let's see how that fits. Just right into the holes of our top drilled opalite point. Now you could hammer and work harden this, and I don't know if I would recommend having it, be complete with just that wire without, like something else. But I don't know. I'll do one and test wear it and see how it goes. But I would prefer something for my own work, something that I could be a little bit more confident in its durability. So again, just wrapping and smushing with my fingers. Here I'm just experimenting using my fingernail, but it's nice to have tools. Oh, and I think I actually tore the copper tape. Yeah, you can see there. I pushed a little too hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go through and double up on the tape. This stuff is pretty affordable, so I don't feel bad about, I don't feel like I'm wasting it or anything. I'm really interested too, similar to the copper plating or copper, electroforming process. I've found out recently that I can do that, or could do that in silver as well, and I think that would be just so cool. Pricey but cool. So I love the way that looks. Very, very sleek. So depending on how long you leave your pendants in the electroforming solution, you can get a very sleek effect. This is much more akin to just electroplating than to, building up the little bumpy marks and things. This was maybe an hour in the electroformer at my standard, I'll have it at 0.8 for the bottom number and whatever the top number ends up being. Actually, I can't remember it off the top of my head. So this is my electroforming setup. You can see I just have a chopstick, the copper pipe with the electrical wires hooked up. Right now I've got a project down in there. It's got a little stirry thing in the heat and burner. But primarily I wanted to show you guys, since this isn't an introduction to electroforming video, these are the numbers that I've been functioning at here lately, and I'm really happy with the results that I've been getting. But this one I had left in for 12 hours because I forgot to take it out and left it in overnight. And so you can see, same technique, very, very different results. Let me see if I can get the camera to actually start focusing. And these haven't been sent through the tumbler. Now, one like this, sent through the tumbler for 2 hours with stainless steel shot and burnishing compound, polishes up everything into a really interesting effect. And also with this, it feels like if I were to wear it over a silk shirt, it would snag it. Whereas this one here is very silky smooth. All of the sharp edges are rounded down, and you can really see there just how smooth all those little bumpy bits have become. Whereas this one looks like it spent a long time at the bottom of the ocean or something. Now, on that same note, this one was left in the electroforming solution for only about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And this is before and after tumbling. So that's pretty interesting. So again, I really love this technique because you can, with the same tools, materials, and techniques, you can leave it in there and get very different results. Whereas on ones like this one, you can see this was the same 18 gauge wire with the spiral and then the copper tape, and you can see how thick that's built up. And that was just, super duper thin copper tape wrapped around it. So long as it's conductive, it'll build up a nice layer. Now, then with the quartz and opalite, I didn't bother covering it with any latex. But on this piece over here, to protect the druzy, I did cover it with some liquid latex, and I just use, let me grab a bottle of it, this stuff here, and I just paint it on. I do a few layers, and then it just peels off real nice. I leave it on during the tumbling and everything. Now, I had a piece, where'd it go? This one here, the latex came off during the tumbling process, but the agate, you can see, still retained its nice high shine. But it is a good idea to protect your stones if they're anything that you'd rather not risk it. Like here you can see I have gone ahead and coated the quartz crystal in some of the latex, as well as the area that goes into the threading for the little bottles like this. That way, now this one hasn't been tumbled yet. When I go through and tumble this one, I won't bother putting the glass portion in with it. I'll just put it in. You can see there's still some latex up inside of there, but I'll just be putting this portion in, and that way it'll get tumbled up very nicely. But that's what the bottles look like after electroforming. Again, very similar technique of just using 18 gauge wire and the copper tape, and I think that comes out pretty all right. Hey everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with me during this video. I really hope that it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, or requests for future tutorials, please leave it down below. There's links to all of my different social media and Amazon, like links for tools and materials and all of those different things, as well as how you can support the channel through Patreon if you like what we do. Links to that are down in the video description below also. And I guess I'll see y'all in my next video. So until next time, you guys, happy crafting. Bye.